Welcome to Domina over at the Edge of Casual. I am your host Verso, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Murmillo class versus the Thraex class. So I apologize in advance if I've butchered the names of those classes. I am not a Latin scholar, so if you're a Roman history buff and you want to correct me, please feel free to go ahead and do so in the comments. But anyway, so keep in mind that class balance does tend to change over the lifetime of a game, even a release game like this one, and I think we're in version 1.2.19 or something like that at the moment. And the game hasn't had any expansions yet, which is usually when you kind of see things get rejiggered. But to be sure, things have actually changed a lot since I was initially playing back in 2017, about 2 years ago. At this point, in June 2019, I would imagine they've probably got it more or less hammered down, and they're just refining some of the smaller pieces. But anyway, I was wondering, and maybe I was the only one, if either of these classes had a specific advantage over the others. So what I did was I created two characters that were virtually identical as far as weight, skills, etc., and just assigned one the Murmillo class and assigned one the Thraex class. And for this initial round of battles, I put them in very basic armor. So they're using the most basic weapon. They've basically got the level 1 armor and nothing else. And just wanted to take a look at who would win these battles. And as you're seeing, the Thraex class wins 5 times out of 5. Though I will say that these battles are pretty close. Later on in this video, I went ahead and started assigning them more advanced armor options. So I went up to the basic Kama weapon, which again I'm probably butchering. I should look that up, shouldn't I? I'm too lazy. But and also I kind of put armor on them up to the point where you might start balking at the cost of the armor. You know, not necessarily that it's so expensive, but if you're trying to adhere to a budget, you might not go above the cost of that armor. So they're wearing what is a little more, I don't know, what's you would expect them to wear if you intended to fight them in the game. And at this point, we're still going through the basic battles. And again, Thraex usually wins these by a pretty decent margin, though there were a few close battles along the way. And I went ahead and slowed all these battles down to 70% using the in-game time slider, just so you could maybe get a better sense of how these battles are playing out. So here we go. This is where I went ahead and got some better armor on these guys. And as you can see, I tried to go with some general stats for them. So they both got 75 in aggro and then 45 and 45 in turtle and evasion. You may disagree with my methodology. I just couldn't think of a great or better way to do it anyway. But if you have suggestions about that and want me to record a few more battles with what you think are the ideal stats for these two classes, then please let me know and I'll consider doing that. So as we can see, with the better armor, the Thraex is still sort of winning these battles. I wouldn't say dominating them, because honestly it's pretty close generally. I'm impressed that they managed to get it this balanced, that you know, you don't have one class just completely destroying the other. I believe that the Murmillo does win actually one battle of the 5, but I don't know. Well, let's just go ahead and watch. It might be this one. And again, you might argue with the stats that I've placed on these, but I just wanted to kind of try to compare apples to apples as best as I could. And you might say it makes no sense to have the Murmillo have a 45 for turtling, but and you know, I would probably agree with you. Usually I try to keep my Murmillos you know, kind of a little heavier on the evasion side and aggro, but you know, as for this particular video, this is how I decided to do it. So you have now seen the Murmillo win his one battle, 1 out of 10. So you might look at this and say, oh, Murmillo's obviously inferior to the Thraex, and you might be right. But you know, it's not an utter domination. It's usually pretty even-keeled in these battles. And so it's kind of up to you, whichever class you like best. I think you'll probably do well with either of them. Though with that said, the Murmillo is pretty expensive to train with the Doctore, so you might want to just save your money and just go full Thraex, unless they change the balance at some point. So as we come up on the end of this battle series, please, I encourage you, if you feel like I've dropped the ball with this comparison, do let me know in the comments, and let me know where I might have done something a little bit smarter. As I mentioned probably too many times, it wasn't easy to determine a methodology for this. In any case, I hope you got something from it anyway, and in the meantime, go forth, conquer, keep it casual, but play smarter.